Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. We're up at early this morning because we're headed down to the Red Brick House today and tomorrow. Get some more of that work and stuff done because we are saving that piece of history. And I appreciate you guys bearing with me, but we'll be back on Friday getting ready for our Dallas Cowboys preseason finale. And, I am like a lightning rod for a lot of hate and a lot of discontent of Dallas Cowboy fans. And, last night when I was doing my fireside chat, I'm always one of those people that are thankful for what I have. I may not have everything that I want, but I'm thankful that I have what I have because I've learned from having a flesh-eating bacteria where I almost lost my life, from being burned in the leg, that things may be bad for you, but there are people out there that wish they only had your problems, because you have it a lot better than what you realize. We are coming off of 2 12-5 seasons. Did we make the Super Bowl? No. But you could be one of these teams that haven't been to playoffs in a long time, that don't have 5 Super Bowls. But I want to continue this discussion because I don't think people realize how much this team has evolved. I want you to take a look over here for a second, because we had the golden era of the Dallas Cowboys that made us truly, the America's team, that everybody was out buying starter jackets and everything else. We had been spoiled with 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. And had Jerry not let his ego get in the way, who knows how many it might have been. Since Jimmy Johnson, I want you to take a look at the coaches we had. We had Barry Switzer, who did have a 6.25 winning percentage, but I'm not going to say it was because of Barry Switzer. I would say that Troy Aikman coached the offense in that, and Barry Switzer was just there. You know what I mean, baby? You know what I mean, baby? We did it our way, didn't we? Didn't we? Yeah. 40-24. But since that time, we have actually been through some hell. Chan Gailey didn't do awful. 32-18, 5.63, 1 NFC championship, 2 playoff berths, no wins. We had Dave Campo, and my God, we were 15-33, 5-11, 3 years in a row. Then we got Bill Parcells, who rebuilt the roster. Was only here for 3 years, 34-30, 5.31. We had Wade Phillips, who took that team, and we had two NFC East championships and 2 playoff berths, and didn't do anything with those. 56-34, a .60. Jason Garrett, I'm going to say Jason Garrett. Y'all can get mad at me all you want. For 10 years, we had 3 NFC East championships, 3 playoff berths, 2 playoff wins. Or is it 3? Was it 3? No, I'm sorry, it was 3. 3 playoff wins. Then we have Mike McCarthy, who is the current coach of the Dallas Cowboys, who took over for Jason Garrett team that was aging out, a team that was definitely going downhill. And he is 30-20 with 1 NFC East championship and 2 playoff berths and 1 playoff win. When I look at these scenarios of coaches, let's go back to it. Barry Switzer, the team was on cruise control. There was nothing you could say that Barry Switzer did that says he was a great coach. Chan Gailey, he was okay. It's okay. but again, he had an aging roster and so on. Dave Campo, great special teams coach, sucked. Bill Parcells, maybe if he could have gotten along with Jerry longer, he could have done more, but we'll just say that was definitely, I mean, he brought in DeMarcus Ware, found Tony Romo, and got Jason Witten here. Wade Phillips' MO was sucks when it comes to playoffs. Jason Garrett, do I need to even say anything? Do I need to say anything? It was amazing how when the Cowboys got rid of him, he was considered the greatest coach of all time. I often wonder, when Wade Phillips was the coach and Jason Garrett did the interview with the Baltimore Ravens, had the Ravens picked him, what would the Cowboys' recent history been had we not gotten Jason Garrett as the head coach? And then you look at Mike McCarthy, 3 years, 30-20, as opposed to Bill Parcells, who was here for 4 years, 34-30. You have to look at this condensed section of a coach and say, he's done really good. And that maybe we need to give him a little more time, because I sit here and I look and I say, Jason Garrett, 10 years, 3 playoff berths. I still am mystified about him being coach of the year. I still say that was some bull jiggity, but that's me. But if you amplify this out to the amount of time that Jason Garrett was there, you're looking at 6 or 7 playoff berths, at least 3, maybe 4 NFC championships. And the wins-wise, you're talking about possibly 90-plus wins. But yet we still have Mike McCarthy's on the hot seat. People will say Mike McCarthy sucks as coach. But see, that's the guy who said, let's challenge the Des Bryant catch, because that was actually considered a catch. Had he not challenged it, had he not been the coach to challenge that, Cowboys would have been in the NFC Championship game. He was smart enough to do that. Now, I am one to say, after living through 10 years of Jason Garrett, after seeing the sample size of what we've had so far, where we went from losing our quarterback multiple occasions, still having 30 wins and 20 losses, I look at that and say, that's doing a lot better than a lot of the coaches that are out there. And that guy does have a ring. On the same breath, for all those out there that are always talking about, we just need to find another quarterback, I dare say that's not an easy thing to do. It's a good thing Troy Aikman isn't playing now, because Troy Aikman would have been run out of town. Because y'all forgot that Troy Aikman, his rookie year, we didn't win a single game with him. In his second year, it was Steve Walsh might be the guy. It wasn't until 1990 that he actually started playing well, when they got a team around him. And for those out there that say, well, Dak's got to be able to win without having people around him, are you going to actually say that Troy Aikman didn't have people around him? Hall of Fame tackle? Hall of Fame all-time leading rusher? Hall of Fame wide receiver? Hall of Fame defensive end? Hall of Fame head coach? I might say that was some help to go along with him. I just might say that. But after Troy Aikman, oh my God. Do you guys, maybe some of you newbies out here that say Dak sucks, just trade Dak. Go get an Andy Dalton or a Derek Carr or a Baker Mayfield, because these are all things I've heard over the years here. Troy Aikman's waning years, we had Jason Garrett start a few games. We brought in an aged Randall Cunningham, Anthony Wright, Quincy Carter, we drafted that guy. Anthony Wright again. The biggest bust in the history of football, Ryan Leaf. Clint Stoner, Chad Hutchinson, who should have stuck to baseball, back to Quincy Carter, Vinny Testaverde, who was literally Father Time, Drew Henson. We actually got a little stability with Drew Bledsoe in his waiting years, and then Tony Romo. Guys, if you decide to say, we need another quarterback to win a Super Bowl, that's what you're looking at. That's what you're looking at. Bringing in guys left and right, left and right, left and right. The stability the Cowboys have had through the last 7 seasons, where we've gotten 4 playoff berths, and 2 playoff victories, half of what we've had over the last 30 years. It's been stability at your quarterback position. When we had bad seasons like 2020, we had Andy Dalton, Dak Prescott, Ben DiNucci, and Gilbert Garrett starting. If that alone doesn't teach you the difference of having Dak versus not having Dak, I don't know what to tell you. Because finding a quarterback in the NFL is hard. It is real hard. Now, before I get out of here, I want to listen to ESPN. I know it'll rot your brain. But are the Cowboys in a better position to win the Super Bowl than previous years?
To the Eagles in that division, and I guess in the NFC at large.
You know, they're closer for sure, absolutely. But it definitely comes down to what Marcus is talking about. In the end, is your quarterback putting you into trouble, and can he get out of it in the critical moments? And that's the difference between Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott. It was last year specifically. Jalen Hurts did not turn the football over, and Dak Prescott did in the critical moments. And that is the bottom line of the difference between the 2 football teams. And if you're looking for an extra piece to help Dak Prescott, certainly Jonathan Taylor would be one of those players who could do that, for sure. If you're all in, then go all in. If you think the circumstances around your team within your conference put you in the best possible position, then get that one player like the Eagles did with A.J. Brown last season.
You know what we didn't get to when we talked about this in the first hour of our program today? I asked everyone on this set to pick the winner of the NFC East. Oh. And I've got it here. It says Greeny, Eagles. Swagoo, Eagles. Sal, Eagles. Graziano, Cowboys.
The smart
Talk to me, Danny.
Well, the last time the same team won the NFC East 2 years in a row was 2003, 2004. That was a long time ago.
Right.
I think weird things happen in the NFC East that we don't see coming. Yeah. The division is always pretty closely matched. I mean, what did you say? Cowboys and Eagles split their games last year, right?
Last year, yep.
Like, it's not, they're not that far off.
Jalen Hurts didn't play in the second, and then
Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts have not played against one another.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they haven't played one another.
That's right. That's right.
They have not played one another.
The Cooper Rush era, yeah.
I don't think Dak Prescott is a 15 interception a year guy. There's nothing in his career prior to last year that says that. So I think that was an anomaly. Swagoo's point about being able to elevate in the big games is a good one and a fair one, and I think Dak Prescott would probably agree with it, right? Like, he knows. So, but I do think he won't put them in harm's way as much this year, and I can't. I've been following that NFC East too long. I cannot pick the same team to win it that won it last year.
Well, let's see if
can't make myself do it.
If the general perception of them is one that we agree with. So at ESPN, we released our NFL preseason power rankings. And the NFC East is very well represented. If you look at this closely, I'll get to my bone to pick a little bit later. But if you look at it, there's not a lot of NFC representation here, Marcus. So if you just were to look at the NFC teams, they have the Eagles, the Niners, and then the Cowboys. Yep. Is that right to you? Is that the right order within the NFC power structure?
That's the right order to me as it stands right now.
And then the Lions would be the next NFC team, and then the Seahawks.
But because of what we know about the 3 teams, and usually it's come down to them, obviously the 49ers and the Cowboys in the playoffs the past couple years. Mm-hmm. But the 3 top teams in the NFC before any games are played are Philly, San Fran, and Dallas.
Look, the Eagles belong there, right? Like, the Eagles should be the favorites to win the NFC East. I should sensibly be picking them, but It doesn't happen.
Right.
Something weird
Yep.
happens, and the Cowboys are good enough to take advantage of that if the Eagles are just off by this much this year from where they were last year.
All right, so I want to try something. This was an idea that I had. If it doesn't work out well, we'll blame the staff. You're looking at 14 teams there. Now, I will grant you, it is not evenly split between the AFC and the NFC. So I get that this is not a perfect exercise. There are, I believe on this list, there are 9 AFC teams and 5 NFC teams. But the point remains, 14 teams are going to make the playoffs. You're looking at the top 14 teams in the NFL. So I'm asking you, of all the teams that are not on this list, which one would you, that palatial estate of yours in the suburbs of Philadelphia, which team that is not on the screen would you bet your house on?
I think it has to be either the Saints or the Cleveland Browns.
To make the playoffs.
Yes, because somebody's going to win the NFC South, and it most likely will be the Saints.
Right.
But what I'm saying about the Cleveland Browns, they are sneaky good because of what Jim Schwartz brings to that defensive staff, and because we've seen really great things from Deshaun Watson in the past. Now, all the reports out of our Browns camp is things are not really working and clicking on offense for Deshaun Watson right now. He's had a lot of ups and downs.
Interesting.
Camp, but I think because of the presence of Jim Schwartz and their ability to create turnovers defensively, they have a chance to sneak into the playoffs.
Again, these are the teams that you would bet anything you wanted are going to make the playoffs this year who were not listed there. Graziano, you did take New Orleans for that reason.
Because there's no NFC South team in the top 14, and Sal's correct. The rules say someone has to win it. Look, they are. I think.
All right, we're going to leave it right there so I can hit the road. But, you know, it's funny because there's so many quarterbacks that we have had as the hottie that everybody, they're so much better than Dak Prescott. Deshaun Watson was one of them. And it's funny because nobody talks about Deshaun Watson's 7 TDs and 5 interceptions last year and just being not anything in particular. The team was actually worse with Deshaun Watson. And nobody talks about Deshaun Watson the year before that he played, where everybody said he was an MVP on a 4-12 team. Isn't that garbage time yards? Isn't that? I remember when Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray can do things Dak Prescott can't. The ceiling's higher. Kyler Murray injured and the Cardinals are ready to move on from him? Remember when they said Andy Dalton, no drop off from Dak Prescott, right? And is Andy Dalton still on a roster? Has he done anything? I'm just going through. And it's funny because people will find all kinds of excuses. They'll say, I'm sitting here looking at some of the comments. Yeah, well, Dak Prescott's stats were against a garbage division because the NFC East sucked. Okay, all right, here we go. All right, okay, cool. But other quarterbacks that have had to come in for Dak against those same guys were ass. Andy Dalton played at the worst year. Let's be clear. The worst year of the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC East, where the Washington Commanders, with a losing record, won it. How come Andy Dalton didn't thrive? Clearly, the Commanders won the division with a 7-9 record. That's all I'm going to say about that. But, hate, you're going to find all kinds of reasons or make them up to fit the narrative that you want. The reality is the Cowboys are in a good position right now. They have done a lot to improve a team from last year. They are young. They are hungry. They've got a better coaching staff because you can't say Mike Nolan was great and that, Dan Quinn is just the same. It's not. You can't look at Mike McCarthy and his record here thus far, taking over the Jason Garrett team, and what he's done is the same. Jason Garrett never had back-to-back winning seasons, much less back-to-back playoff seasons. Just be thankful for what you got. And remember, only one team a year wins the Super Bowl. I'm out. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Why not turn it? Oh, man. What's wrong with me?
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?